So right now we're here on the front lines. They are spraying protesters with the water cannon. This is what's happening right now. Right now, it's freezing cold out here. This is what's going on. They're spraying water protectors with the water cannon, and it is freezing cold out here. It is below freezing out here. This is what's happening right here on the front lines right now. Again, it's freezing cold out here. This is what's going on, guys. Full riot gear. This is what's going on right now. As you can see, we're right here on the front lines.
It is boiling, you run to the sea. It is boiling, you run to the sea. It will be boiling. Right there. Right there. That's him, right there. Shooter right there in the corner. You run to the river.
They're shooting. They're shooting.
These are your people! Your people! You send your kids to school with these people, children!
Tear gas.
Yeah, I just got shot in the head. Sure, here, come take a seat for a minute. You want to sit for a minute? I know, it hurts like shit.
She was just now shot.
Hold up, guys.
We're not at that point yet, but that's what
and I traveled to a lot of the reservations all over the country, and things were not well organized then. And what I see here is so different. People really have each other's backs. People are organized. The fact that you all are here, the fact that there is indigenous media like this from all over the country is so new and so important. The fact that there's a youth council, the fact that everything that I've seen, people helping each other, people having a media hill, people, you know, there's an organization, and that didn't used to be the case. So I congratulate all of the tribes for doing what they're doing here. This is historic, everyone coming together this way. And in spite what we hear outside of the camp and outside of Standing Rock, what I feel when I'm in camp is unity and people caring for each other, providing food for each other, providing wood for each other, and heat. Now they're starting this amazing school, which I would like to be part of in the future, because I'm going to be back. But this is really a tale of two cities, the situation here. I'll start with the positive part of it, is Native people who have, from the very beginning, from way before I was born, have been telling white people what needs to happen if we're going to survive, that we are one with the earth, with the water, with things that grow, and that if we don't respect that and live in harmony with nature and respecting nature, that we can't survive. And yesterday I was very moved when the elder that made the prayer at the luncheon of thanks. Remind me his name, Leah? Jay Taken Alive. And he said, when you pray, lift your palms up to the stars, because we come from the stars. And, you know, I realize that has now been proven by science. We are all made up of molecules from the stars. And quantum physics shows that we are all one. We are just waves of energy. And it moved me so much because the Native people have known that from the beginning. They didn't need science to tell them that. And it's to our detriment that we didn't pay attention. And we're at a situation now where it's almost too late. We've done so much damage. You know, Sitting Bull said the love of possession is a disease with them. And that's what we're seeing here. The love of possession is a disease with them, which means greed. And that's what the pipeline represents, greed. We don't need fossil fuel. We have wind, we have sun. In fact, that green energy is less expensive, and it provides more jobs than fossil fuel industries do. And so this is the direction that we have to go in, and this is what the people that are gathered here, standing with Standing Rock, are saying in a prayerful way. Pipelines and oils that can desecrate sacred land and spoil our water will be the end of humanity. Not just Native Americans, not just the people who live here, but everyone. And that we have to understand, we have to finally, we Europeans, wake up to the message that you have been telling us for centuries and centuries. Because we're almost at a tipping point. Once we pass the tipping point, there's no going back. One of the reasons that I'm so moved and happy that I've been here is that it's a message of hope, especially from the young people. And you do feel that the ancestors are here. You feel that Sitting Bull is here. Yesterday during the prayer, I saw the presence, and my friend with the youth council, Leha Spoonhunter, he showed me a photograph that was taken, I believe, in early October, when the youth went down to the front line as a group, peacefully in prayer, and photographs were taken. And in the black sky above them were these orbs of light. And I saw them and I knew what they were because I've seen them in other photographs before, in other sacred places like in Ireland. And those orbs are spirits, and they go to people who need help and support, and that was so moving, and I know that it's true. And I wanted to come here now, and I wish I could stay longer, but I'll be back. Because I wanted to be able to see with my own eyes what was happening. One of the good things about it being celebrity, and Francis Fisher, my friend, and we're here too as celebrities, because we're like repeaters. You know, you have a valley here, and then you have a big mountain, and then a valley. And in order to get the message from this valley to that valley, you have to have those repeaters up on the hill, the signals that pick up the signals. Because sometimes, you know, the phones and the service isn't big enough to come over the hill to the other side. Well, when you're famous, one of the things that we can do is be repeaters to help bring your voice up over the top. That's what I view our role as. Not to, you know, get acclaim for ourselves or anything like that, but to try to carry the message out. And the message for me is a message of hope. The message is to tell people that you are here unarmed, that you are here in prayer and in ceremony, no matter what the police say. They are lying to justify what they're doing, so what's new? And we have to get the truth out, and I will do all I can. I pledge myself to Standing Rock and to everyone, all the warriors that are here in prayer and ceremony and peace, that I will do everything I can to help not only stop the pipeline, but to help create a healthy community going forward.
Francis?
I think you said it all. I've been here since Sunday before last, almost 2 weeks, and I had a couple of contacts here in camp, and I have met so many people who have opened their arms to me and given me the most amazing hugs, because I've been watching. I follow digital smoke signals, the amazing work of Myron Dewey, but there's nothing like being here and feeling what it is to be at camp. It was very distressing for me to be on the bridge last Sunday when the militarized police attacked the prayerful people, the water protectors. I didn't get right up to the front lines, but I got close enough to record, and there in the recordings you could hear people singing and playing their drums. There was no violence where I was, yet I saw, you know, the attacks with the water cannons and the pepper spray and the concussion grenades. And I've never seen anything like that. It was as if they were at war with these peaceful people. And I opened my room to the medics who had worked all night. And some of the stories they told, some of the photographs they showed me, not of people, but of the welts that were on bodies. And the bean bags, I never knew they make such an impact and bruise, and then the pellets they spray out and hit the other people who are around that person who got hit. I'm thinking, why are they so scared of prayerful people who are the original environmentalists, You all know what it is, as Jane said, how to take care of the land, how to take care of the water, how to take care of your next 7 generations. And it's a message that I think one of the positive things that is coming out of this terrible situation, which I feel is ground zero for so many issues, is that people are learning about you in a different way. I've never heard of a group who speaks about prayer in such a way that is what your culture is. You know, it's all about prayer, and it's something that seems to be lacking in the European corporate structure. I don't know. I don't know where to go from here, except that I know that I want to get this out to the mainstream media. Now that the election is over, it would seem like there could be a little room for something other than who the next cabinet people are going to be. I think about how there has been no communication from our president about this, even though Kendrick Eagle, I don't know if you all saw his video, you know, he's one of the youth who went to see President Obama, and he told his story, and the president said that he was going to help. As long as he was in office, he would help. And he's got how many weeks left, and he's still yet to help? I don't understand what the silence is.
I bet he will. I feel he will.
When?
Well,
Before January 1st, I hope.
I think.
Yeah.
I just feel that he will.
Well, the moment he said we'll let it play out in a few weeks, look what happened. You know, we're living like in dog years here where he's making decisions. You know, we know he's listening. We know he's watching.
He came to Standing Rock, and he met with the youth, and he was apparently very, very moved, deeply moved, he and Michelle. And as a result of that visit, he created Indingenous Generation Indingenous, which has, from what I've heard from the youth that I've spoken to, been a really wonderful thing, because the more intercommunication, intertribal communication, the more stories can be exchanged, the better. And I think we can bring back those feelings in him before he leaves office.
Well, yes, we pray. He proclaimed the month of November Native American Heritage Month. And people are being thrown into jail and arrested and attacked by militarized police and lied about, trying to turn the story around and make it look like it was the water protectors who started fires, when you can see it all in the footage.
Yeah,
In Myron Dewey's footage, you can see the truth. I mean, what I've been doing is putting out that the Department of Justice needs to be called, and the number is 202-514-2000, extension 4, and you can call on Loretta Lynch to have an investigation of the human rights violations here at Standing Rock, perpetrated by the Morton County militarized police upon the peaceful water protectors of Standing Rock. That's one of the things that I've been, telling my friends and putting it on Facebook and all that, because I think the more calls they get, the more they're going to realize they've got something serious on their hands. Because what I don't want to go into fear about this, but my feeling, and it's around the camp, that the next attack could be worse. It could be deadly. I mean, Sophia, if that explosion had not hit her arm and maybe been a foot higher, it could have hit her heart or her face, and she may not have lived. this is insane to have this kind of reaction to what people want, which is clean water, and not just for them. It's not just for your tribe. It's a representation of what's happening all over this country, of people who have been pushed down and pushed around and marginalized and hurt by what, as you say, the European white people who are now the corporate overlords. And
One bit of good news that I heard yesterday is that Native woman who has worked for many years with the United Nations on behalf of Indian country, there is going to be, I don't know what to call it, a hearing, a meeting at the United Nations about Standing Rock on December 9th. I don't know exactly what that means in the long term, but it's a moral victory that they are hearing that they will hold this meeting, and I'm going to try to go to that, and I know many others will too. And the price of oil is dropping. The price of solar and wind is dropping, so it's labor intensive, so it makes more sense to go green than to go fossil fuel. So the longer that the pipeline and all the other efforts like that can be postponed, can be forced to go to court, to just anything that it costs them money, and the more money it costs them, given the fact that oil is very cheap right now, the less viable the whole project becomes. This is what happened in the Arctic. You know, at first I was angry with President Obama because he gave permission to Shell to drill in the Arctic. But then I found out they raised the bar so high in terms of environmental regulations that it cost so much money, plus all the protests, it wasn't worth it for them anymore, and they backed out. So, you know, the longer we can, I know it's hard for those of you on the front lines and those of you who are going through winter here, but the longer we can do it and make them have to wait and wait and wait, the better it is.
So we have time for a few questions from our media, and we'll go ahead and start with there.
Yeah, thank you guys for making your way here. Ultimately, the question that's burning is, when did you find out about the situation happening here, and what moved you to actually come here?
I heard about it in August, and I was making a movie in Colorado with Robert Redford, and I wasn't free to come. He did a PSA for Standing Rock. So as soon as the movie was over, a week later, I came.
Shailene Woodley, our warrior goddess. She has an amazing reach on social media, and she's a friend of mine, and I started hearing about it at the beginning. And I was also working, so this was the first time I was able to come. We, at the Environmental Media Association, of which I'm an officer on that board, we gave Shailene the Futures Award in October because of her work on environmental issues, and especially bringing the focus to Standing Rock. And again, we want to be able to reach out to the mainstream media, and we gave her the platform. If you go to Emma online, you can hear her speech. She's an amazingly well-spoken young woman, and she talks about that, what is going on here. And hopefully that is going to create a ripple effect, and more people will hear about it. So it was Shailene and Myron's reporting, and and all the other, as Jane mentioned earlier, all the other Facebook sites that are reporting what's going on.
I have a question. One of the tactics that's used up north in Canada, the tribal leadership uses, is that they basically, when resource extraction is happening, they throw what they call like militant indigenous land defenders or those type of people, on the front line. And then when they garner enough money, they, basically throw the warriors to the wolves and the corporations, and then they take the money, people are arrested, and then the resource extraction happens. This is something that we are concerned with happening here at Standing Rock. And if the tribe did accept the money, how would you react personally as a person who supports the fight here? And also, how would the world react if that happened?
Well, it would be terrible, but I'm so surprised to hear that because I've spent quite a bit of time in Canada, in Toronto and in Vancouver at various rallies with Indigenous people. And there, the environmental movement is led by First Nations people. And they have stopped so many pipelines, putting their lives on the line, putting their bodies on the line. And they are paid great honor. They have a great deal of respect from people in Canada. So I'm surprised to hear that. But if it ever happened, it would be reprehensible. It would be terrible, and it should be condemned.
Yes.
Any more questions?
A question.
Yes.
I'm really grateful that you guys are here, and I think it's a really good example, along with Shailene Woodley, that people in Hollywood are coming and using their the pool that they have within the mainstream media and just mainstream people in general. Why is it that we're not getting more support from Hollywood or people in Hollywood? Do you feel, or is there just a push not to become involved in political issues, or do you feel comfortable to?
I can't speak for anyone else but myself. I don't know. There are people who are holding up the sign, I stand with Standing Rock, and, putting it out there. Who was it? The guy who played Thor? One of those.
Chris Hemsworth.
I think it was, yeah. So people are doing that. I don't know if that's enough. That's something that maybe we should work on. Rally all of our friends.
Well, I think there's a lot of involvement. What was there was a unified action. It was all across the country, but all over Los Angeles. There were people, including celebrities, that were speaking
That was on the 15th.
Yes, it was on the 15th.
I was here, so I didn't.
And it was powerful, and it got a lot of media coverage. Mark Ruffalo has come and been extremely helpful and generous. Margot Kidder, Rosanna Arquette, Patricia Arquette. I raised money for 2,700 pounds of bison, and actually I paid for that, but the Mongolian yurts, there's 20 of them coming. I got money from all kinds of celebrities. So I think Hollywood is with you, absolutely. Not everybody can come here, but there's a tremendous amount of support. Like, since I've been here, I have seen, with the help of Leah, what some of the needs are, and I'm going to go back and I'm going to ask them for money, and they're going to give it, and I know they will.
I have a question. I think what's important for us, for you guys, for our Native media, is to be prepared on behalf of your tribe, your community, and to be fully ready to articulate our needs, what we're doing here, what we need with media, and what's going on here at the different camps. That's what I've seen. And so when we see our non-Native relatives coming in, we can hand them something to educate, but we also need our non-Native relatives to have somebody there to educate them, because we're spending a lot of time re-educating Americans. We know everything about Americans, everything, because we've been forced in colonization. But still, America knows nothing about us. And I think that in the reporters I've had come down, we've had very big issues with Fox not telling the truth. We can heartfelt, we can cry to them, but that time has passed. The other one is coming to us, well, we're here to help you. Well, we're already helping ourselves. Where were you in the last 100 years, the last 10 years, last 5 years, and where we are today? So it's important for our non-Native relatives to find those ones that can help articulate what's happening through Indian country, through our Native professors, our scholars, our medicine people that we have that can help educate. But we're spending a lot of time re-educating America as they come here, and they're on Indian land. The United States is indigenous territory, and they're just what? No, I'm from California, New York. They didn't know anything existed prior to that. We still have our stories, our medicines, our Numa Yadwa, Pijad Numa Yadwa, our voice. And that's very important. So to honor us is to honor us by educating yourself before you get here. And then to get here, we're having a tough time taking care of the people, and then to come here homeless is not okay. To come here with no, other support just to be taken care of is not okay. That's what we're also seeing many people walk around. And then is to help educate that not all these actions are by all of us. So when we see hurt people, Indigenous people doing actions that clearly show that they're hurt, outwardly hurt, and it's not a part of prayer, we need everyone to know that that's not us. It's part of our people that haven't healed yet.
Yeah, yes.
And it's so important to let our
Empathy
own relatives
is
know
needed
that.
to understand. That's what
And-
comes, yeah.
And I recognize that when I'm there, but just to let her, I apologize ahead of time when you run into somebody like that, to let them know they're not fully healed, and they express it in their actions, in their media, and what they do, what they say, their social media. So just to share those things, and you guys, you've been around many of our Indigenous people, you know, who can articulate it very well.
Yeah. One of the things that has moved me so much, I met the woman. Who's the woman that with the bright red lips that runs the school? Elena, yeah. And so she speaks Lakota, and she's teaching her young children to speak Lakota, and her father was too ashamed because he was taken away and put into one of these schools and made to feel ashamed about Indians, and of course it was illegal to speak the language, and so he never taught her. So the fact that she is speaking and the grandchildren are speaking is now helping him heal to where he speaks the language now with no shame.
Yes. And
That is such a profound circle through the generations back,
oh, definitely.
And, when I first started being involved in Indian country, there was a big debate then in 1970, assimilation or tradition. And it was especially in the Indians that had become urbanized. They were more for assimilation. And now it's so clear that going to traditional ways, keeping the language alive, knowing where you come from, knowing the real Howard Zinn version of history. I say Howard Zinn because he wrote the People's History of the United States, and it tells the truth, which most schools don't teach, and how important it is for Indian youth to know their own history. And that's why I really want to support this school that's developing at the camp, which is so beautiful. And I'm going to be writing an article for Huffington Post, and I hope you'll all be happy with it, but I want to tell the positive stories.
Yeah, you've been a part of it a lot of years, especially with Lenata Warjack. But that's been the biggest issue, is re-educating. But I also want our viewers to know that from one Indigenous person to the next is a different opinion depending on their healing from the historical trauma. So I've seen people come with beautiful teachings. I've seen people that only know those teachings, and they'll talk at you, not to you. And then I've also seen elders chew people out just because they're non-native, and then the non-natives leave, and they're like, hey, he was angry. Then I went and spoke with the elder, and he had no idea that they were from another country. So it helped him heal. And it's to recognize that not everyone is in the same spot. But for our non-native relatives, to educate them where we are today in the 21st century. The second decade, our existence is the resistance.
So we have time for one more question.
I have, what we've noticed in ceremony is that the empowerment of the women is becoming very strong in our ceremonies. And I just wanted to know if that translates to you and what you've witnessed of how the women are standing.
It's so moving to me. As I said earlier, when I came to camp, the hugs that I would get from the women, it's, the old Hollywood hug is like this, right? Hey. But they fully embrace, and I could feel myself relaxing and blending in with the people who hugged me, especially the women at first. And just that simple act of holding is so healing. And there are mothers, and to me they represent the water. They represent Mother Earth, because women can have children, and that's what Mother Earth does.
But women are also warriors. Women are
Hell
going to the
yeah.
front line. That was the one
Hell
problem I
yeah.
had with the prayer yesterday, when the elder was speaking of the quote from Sitting Bull, I don't fight because I'm on the offensive. I fight to defend women and children. And I'm thinking, you know, we don't necessarily need people to fight for us. We can fight. And all around the world, you know, the saying is, women hold up half the sky. Women are leaders in a different way, but we need both.
Yeah.
We need both. But women are the agents of change, especially young women who haven't absorbed the oppression for as long. And so the young ones are the ones that we have to give our attention to, because they can become the leaders. I mean, Winona LaDuke, Wilma Mankiller, talk about fierce leader. My God, she was such a great chief of the Cherokee. So, yes, women are the future. The girls are the future. The girls will bring the boys along. That's what I think.
Leah?
Well, this movement has been started and led by youth. What would you say to them, to Native youth, to continue? Like I said, they've been a big part of this movement, starting with the run to Washington, D.C. What would be your message to them?
I asked the tribal chief, the tribal chairman, David Alcambo, where did the strategic focus on water come from? And he said it was the young people who said, we have to fight for the water, and we have to fight prayerfully, but we have to fight. And it was the young who ran to Washington, and that experience of the running was what made a lot of people aware of Standing Rock. And I think, God bless the youth. Stay strong. Stay strong. Listen to your elders, and then teach us, and learn, and be proud of what you represent, because what Indigenous people represent is the truth. I'm speaking of the ones that have not been so wounded that they have, at least for now, lost the spirit. But those who have the spirit in them, they are the truth. And you've been telling us the truth for so long, and we didn't listen. So keep teaching us, because it's the only way we're going to survive. And really, your message is what is sacred, and is what it can save not just you, but all of mankind, humankind.
And to keep reaching out. The social media platforms are amazing, and the reach is getting wider and wider all the time. Keep running, keep speaking up, and let us follow you.
One more question.
All right. Speaking on women and youth, I don't know if you've heard about the woman who was charged with attempted murder, Red Fawn Fallis.
Yes.
If you know anything about it, is there anything you'd like to share with our viewers, and how they can help, and how you intend on helping?
Well, we need to bail her out.
Yep.
First of all, she was framed. She's accused of
Attempted
murder. They said she had a gun, and the videos and the witnesses that were there say that was not true. She couldn't possibly have a gun. She was being pinned to the ground by police officers, and nothing of that. That was used to arrest her and put her under serious charges in jail with more than $100,000 bail. And Why did they do this? I've learned from Leha that she is one of the fiercest of the women leaders, that she is very, very, very important to the camp. And so they've taken her out, and we have to try to raise the money to get her out of jail and then make sure she has good lawyers and good defense, because it's a frame-up.
And there is a documentary that's being assembled as we speak. The other great thing that's happening here at camp is that everyone is sharing their footage. There's no like, oh, this is mine, you can't have it. Everybody's sharing their footage. And so there are about 3 or 4 different filmmakers who have done some pieces, and it's being edited together so that that can go out. You know, John Quigley, who does the aerial art, he did the big free red fawn with people's bodies, and took a photograph from his drone, and we've got that footage. We've got interviews with her relatives, and that's all being put together. And is there a fund? Is there a fund to raise money we could talk
Yes,
about?
that same crew that's building that site, they're attempting to launch freeredfawn.com
Okay.
and .org, but that basically will include the link of how people can find out how to help her.
Is that up yet?
It's going to be launched intended on Sunday.
Sunday,
They're going to
okay.
launch that video that you mentioned in
Yes.
DC at the Dave Matthews concert.
We'll share that. We'll make sure that all of the media outlets share that information. But closing this, I would like to ask Savannah Thunder. She's the youngest one in the rooms. She's our youth. She's the one empowering us as Indigenous people. So I would like Savannah, if you have a question for them.
I don't really have a question because everything has been asked, and there's been a lot of answers that have been asked, and I think you two are a very powerful women, and I really, really do think, using your privilege and your outreach to, you're using that and you're taking that and you're spreading it everywhere. And I know my community, my youth, were so influenced by media, and I know that any ounce of help is really, really grateful, and I'm really overwhelmed because I really want to share as much as I can, and I think with women like you, it's a lot, so I want to thank you for youth.
Thank you. Did you want a question, to ask a question? No, okay.
I don't have one right now.
Yeah, well, thunderclap it, right?
Thunderclap it.
Thunderclap it on Sunday.
So on behalf of the Standing Rock Sioux Tribe, the camps, the youth, the Indigenous youth, the people, Indigenous media, we would like to say thank you to each of you for taking the time out of your busy schedules for coming here to Standing Rock and showing your support and standing in solidarity and prayer with us. This is a powerful movement, and no matter what race, age, or religion, we're here together, we're praying together, and we're going to stand together to end.
Thank you, William, and thank you for making it possible for us to talk to the Indigenous media. This has been a special thing for us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
right now. But I want to mention that the communication tree, which is my organization that I started in 2002, we're doing another winter donation drive, which we're repeating like we did last year. We're going to do we gather winter items and Christmas decorations, decor, and presents and things for the Neopit Reservation in northern Wisconsin at little Menominee town. Their food pantry and clothing distribution had burned down, so they really don't have much of a place for distribution there. Just a tiny little room in a church. So we borrow the Boys and Girls Club for a day, and we do a giveaway with the things that we gather for people. Then the one December 18th, we're going to be focusing more on Christmas and the cold weather. But right now, we're focusing on trying to make sure people stay warm. We're and we also take new and used toys. The toys we'll use for Christmas, they're new, and the used will be out for kids to grab whatever they want. We like to give them garbage bags, and then they can grab whatever they want. So we're looking for donations too, and if you can contact me at any time. You can find me on Facebook under Louise Sherri Jones, or Louise Sherri Jones, Mending the Hoop and the Communication Tree. Of course, the show is Mending the Hoop, and my organization is the Communication Tree. So I created a page for all of those. Some of my pages don't circulate very well, but I keep them up for people to go and look at them, see what's going on. Okay, they're loaded and ready to go, heading back down to Neopit from Madison. Just loaded up from my storage, and Karen's holding a cute little teddy bear. It's from RSVP donated. There's some elder ladies made some teddy bears. So anyways, it's going to be fun on Sunday. We'll see you Sunday from noon to 7, Neopit, Boys and Girls Club. Yeah. Yep, thanks. See ya. Have a good night. Thank you for joining.